I have a scenario for you. Tell me if this sounds familiar.
All right, let's hear it.
So you've been studying a new language for a few months.
Yeah.
You've got the app on your phone.
You've got the daily streak going.
Exactly. You've got the streak. Maybe you've even bought a fancy textbook. You feel like you're really making progress.
I know exactly where this is going.
Then you find yourself in an actual conversation. Maybe it's a waiter. Maybe it's a colleague at work.
Mm-hmm.
They ask you a simple question. And you just freeze.
The dreaded blank stare.
Yeah, your brain it blue screens. The words are locked away somewhere in there, and you just cannot find the key. So you end up nodding and smiling like a maniac, or, reverting to English and feeling like a total failure.
It's the imposter syndrome of language learning. It's incredibly common. Linguists call it the passive-active gap. Like, you recognize the words when you see them on a screen, but you just can't summon them when you actually need to speak.
And my usual reaction to that, and I think most people's reaction, honestly, is to just punish myself. I think, okay, I'm clearly not working hard enough. I need to study more. I need to cram more words.
You turn into a drill sergeant.
Pretty much.
Which is the logical assumption, right? If you're failing, just try harder. But the source material we're doing a depth dive into today argues that trying harder is actually the core of the problem. Or, well, trying harder in the wrong way is the problem.
Yeah, so today we're looking at a guide titled The Best Way to Learn English Vocabulary. And it has this little tagline, simple plus effective. And I have to be honest, when I first read that, I rolled my eyes a little bit.
Yeah, it sounds a bit like a late-night infomercial.
Exactly. Simple and effective usually sounds like marketing fluff to me, like learn English in 10 days while you sleep.
It does sound like clickbait. But once you actually dig into the text, you realize it's actually it's almost a manifesto against the way most of us were taught in school. It's not offering some magic pill. It's essentially offering a system update for how your brain processes and stores information.
A system update. I really like that. Because my current system is definitely buggy. So our mission today is to break down the 6 specific strategies from this source that claim to completely fix this issue.
And the core argument here is that we treat our brains like hard drives. We think we can just download a dictionary, save the file, and boom, we know the language.
But the brain doesn't work like that.
Not at all. The brain is a biological filter. It's actively designed to forget things that it deems useless. So this guide is essentially 6 strategies to trick your brain into tagging vocabulary as survival data instead of just, spam.
Okay, so let's get right into the spam filter. Because the first point the author makes is something I frankly struggle to accept. I'm a pretty ambitious person. If I want to learn something, I want to binge it.
You want to go all in.
Yeah. I want to do 50 words a day. I want to conquer it.
Which the guide calls the quantity trap.
Right. The guide says explicitly, learn 5 to 10 new words daily, not 50. And my knee-jerk reaction to that is just 5 words. That's it. That feels incredibly lazy.
It feels like you're not doing enough.
If I tell people I'm learning a language and I'm only doing 5 words a day, I feel like a fraud. How are you ever going to get fluent at that microscopic pace?
I completely get that. We live in this hack-it-now hustle culture. But let's actually look at the math, and then let's look at the biology. First, the math. If you learn 5 words a day, and I mean truly learn them so you never forget them, that's about 1,800 words in a single year.
Which, still doesn't sound like a lot compared to a massive dictionary.
Sure, but think about how many words you actually use in your daily conversations. Research consistently shows that about 2,000 to 3,000 words account for 90% of daily conversation in almost any language.
Wow.
Yeah. So at only 5 words a day, you are literally conversational in a year.
Okay, when you frame it like that, it sounds way more achievable.
Now compare that to the binge method you mentioned. You try to cram 50 words a day. That causes massive cognitive overload. Your brain just treats that sudden influx of data as noise.
So it just deletes it.
Pretty much. It might stick for maybe 24 hours, just long enough for you to pass a Spanish quiz on an app, but it does not get encoded into your long-term memory. It's like pouring a giant bucket of water into a tiny funnel.
It just spills everywhere.
Exactly. If you pour too fast, it spills over the sides and you lose most of it. The guide's philosophy here is a direct quote. Consistency is more important than quantity.
So it's much better to have 5 words permanently locked in the vault than 50 words spilling all over the floor.
Precisely. And the guide emphasizes that this is all about sustainability. Think about why most people quit language learning.
Because it turns into a huge chore.
Right. If you set the bar at 50 words, you are going to fail. You'll have a busy day at work, you'll miss a day, you'll feel guilty, you'll miss another day, and then you just quit entirely.
But if the bar is only 5 words,
You can do that while you're waiting for your morning coffee. You almost can't fail.
it really reminds me of that atomic habits approach. Make the habit so small that you literally can't say no to it.
Exactly. But, and this is a really big but, it's not just about the number itself, it's about what you actually do with those 5 words. Because if you just stare at a list of 5 words and their native translations, you're honestly still wasting your time.
Which perfectly brings us to the next big point in the source. And the author marked this as very important. And again, this felt like a direct personal attack on how I study.
The flashcards.
The flashcards. I usually have a list. Word on the left side, meaning on the right side. I cover one side with my hand, quiz myself, and move down the list. But the guide explicitly says, do not memorize only meanings.
Which is the classic flashcard trap. And it's fatal for actual language retention.
Why? I mean, it worked perfectly for my history dates in high school.
Sure, but history dates are static facts. Language is fluid. It's alive. The guide argues that if you memorize a word in total isolation, you forget it quickly. Think of your brain like a giant, empty closet.
Okay.
If you walk in with a brand new shirt, which represents your new vocabulary word, but there are absolutely no hangers or hooks in the closet, you just end up dropping it on the floor. And eventually it gets buried under other clothes and you can't find it.
Okay, I love that analogy. So what is the hanger?
Context. The guide says you absolutely must learn words in sentences. You have to screw a hook into the wall of your brain before you can hang the coat.
The source actually gives a really specific example here that I found super helpful. They use the word opportunity.
Right. So the wrong way to do it is just rote memorizing, like opportunity equals a time or set of circumstances that makes it possible to do something.
Which is so dry, it's boring, and honestly, it's really hard to remember verbatim.
And it's basically useless in real time. Knowing the dictionary definition doesn't tell you how to actually use the word in a sentence. Do you make an opportunity? Do you do an opportunity? Do you catch one? The definition doesn't give you any of those instructions.
So the right way the guide offers is learning the full sentence. I have a good opportunity to learn English.
It sounds almost too simple, right? But look at what's actually happening under the hood there. You aren't just learning the word opportunity. You're learning that you have an opportunity.
Oh, right.
You're learning that the adjective good naturally sits in front of it. You're learning it's followed by the infinitive to learn. You are downloading an entire web of relationships, not just a single isolated data point.
It seems like this also completely solves that imposter problem we talked about at the start of the deep dive.
How so?
Well, if I've only memorized the definition, when I try to speak to a waiter, I have to mentally assemble the grammar and syntax from scratch on the spot. But if I've memorized the whole sentence, I just have to press play.
You nailed it. You're learning chunks of language. And this is exactly how native speakers speak. We don't sit there and think about grammar rules while we talk to our friends. We just rely on phrases we've heard and said thousands of times.
Yeah, the guide suggests a very specific, old-school tool for doing this, and it's totally analog. It's the vocabulary notebook.
Yes. In the modern age of apps and AI, the guide strongly insists on a physical notebook.
And it's not just any random scribbles either. It gives a very strict format. Word, meaning, example sentence.
And it's that third column, the example sentence, that is the most critical. And honestly, based on what we know about cognitive science, you shouldn't just copy the generic sentence from the dictionary either.
What should you do instead?
You should really try to write a sentence that is true for you personally.
True for me, like about my actual life.
Yes, human brains are inherently egocentric. We prioritize and remember things that relate directly to our own survival and our own lives.
That makes sense.
So if you learn the word dog, don't write the dog is barking loudly. Write, my dog, Buster, always barks at the mailman. Because your brain automatically tags that with emotion and visual memory. It's just a much stronger cognitive glue.
Okay, so let's say I've got my notebook set up. I've written my 5 words for the day. I've written my personal egocentric sentences. But right now, they're still just ink on a piece of paper. How do I actually get them into my mouth? Because full disclosure, I can read French way better than I can actually speak it.
Oh, the classic reading comprehension versus spoken fluency gap. This is exactly where we have to engage the physical body. The guide has a strict rule, speak the word aloud. But they break it down into this really interesting triad, see it, hear it, say it.
See, here, say. It sounds a little bit like a workplace safety drill.
It sort of is. It's a safety drill against forgetting. It's all about multi-sensory learning. When you just read a word silently in your head, you're only using one pathway in your brain, the visual cortex. It's essentially a single-lane dirt road.
And obviously we want a multi-lane highway.
We want a massive interstate system. When you hear the word, you engage the auditory cortex. And when you physically say it, you engage the motor cortex, the actual muscles in your lips, your tongue, your jaw, your vocal cords.
You are physically training your mouth to form the weird shapes of the new language.
Exactly. It's muscle memory, just like learning to play a chord on an acoustic guitar. You simply cannot learn to play the guitar by just staring at sheet music all day.
Your fingers have to actually know where to go.
Right. And the guide says this specific triad helps your brain remember much faster. It's creating neurological redundancy. If your brain forgets what the word looks like on paper, it might still remember exactly how it feels to say it, or what the rhythm of it sounds like.
So you're giving yourself 3 different chances to recall the information instead of just one.
Yeah.
But I see a logistical problem here for the average person. See, it is easy. I have my notebook right in front of me. Say it is easy. I can just talk to myself in the shower or the car. But hear it. Unless I have a native speaker literally living in my apartment, how do I get that high-quality auditory input on command?
Well, this perfectly connects to the 4th strategy in the guide, which I honestly think is one of the most practical tips for any modern language learner. The rule is, learn from podcasts and videos.
Okay, sure. But isn't that just basic immersion?
Yeah.
Every language blogger on the internet says just watch movies. But I'll be totally honest with you. If I put on a movie in a brand new language, I usually just tune out after like 5 minutes because I don't understand a single thing.
It just becomes white noise.
Exactly. It just washes over me while I check my phone.
And white noise is completely useless for vocabulary acquisition. Passive listening is a myth. But the guide adds a crucial, non-negotiable detail here. Watch with subtitles.
Always keep the subtitles on.
Yes, and this loops right back to the see, hear, say method. When you have subtitles on, you are seeing the written text and hearing the native pronunciation at the exact same time. You are forcibly connecting the visual symbol to the auditory sound in real time.
Oh, so it acts like a bridge. I see the word opportunity written out on the screen, and I hear exactly how the native actor slurs it or stresses a certain syllable.
Exactly, and you get something else that a static textbook can never, ever give you.
Which is?
Emotional context. You see the actor's face. You see their body language. Are they furiously angry? Are they flirting? Are they being super sarcastic?
Oh, that makes so much sense because you learn that a simple word like fine doesn't just mean okay. Depending on the actor's tone and face, fine can actually mean I am incredibly angry at you right now.
Precisely. And that is the exact kind of data your brain absolutely craves. It latches onto high emotion. A vocabulary list is sterile. It's dead. A scene from a dramatic TV show is messy and alive. The guide argues this is how you actually learn real conversations.
Okay, so to make this an active process, I guess I shouldn't just be lying on the couch eating popcorn while watching Netflix. I should be pausing and repeating.
Ideally, yes. If you hear a phrase that catches your ear, pause the video. Write it down in your notebook. Say it out loud right there in your living room. Try to mimic the actor's exact tone of voice. Now think about it. You've just combined every single strategy we've discussed so far. Context, the notebook, multisensory engagement, and native media.
Okay, this is really starting to feel like a robust, foolproof system. But we have to address the elephant in the room. The one thing that actually keeps me up at night when I'm studying.
The forgetting curve.
The leaky bucket. I can do all of these steps perfectly on a Monday. I learn my 5 words. I write my beautiful egocentric sentences. I shadow the actor on YouTube. I feel like a linguistic genius.
And then Friday rolls around.
Yes. Come Friday, I look back at Monday's page, and it's like someone else wrote it. I swear I've never seen those words before in my life. It is so deeply demoralizing. It just makes me feel like my brain is permanently broken.
You are not broken. You are just a normal human being. And the guide has a very specific prescription for this exact feeling, and it's deeply rooted in the science of memory decay. It's called the 137 review method.
137. It sounds like a lock combination.
Well, it essentially unlocks long-term retention. Here is the strict schedule the source outlines. You review the new word on day 1, that's the initial day you learn it, and put it in your notebook. Then you force yourself to review it again after 3 days, and then again after 7 days.
Okay, but why those very specific numbers? Why not just review every single word every single day? Wouldn't more review automatically be better?
Surprisingly, no. And this is based on something called the spacing effect. If you review a word every single hour or every single day, your brain knows the information is right there in your active short-term memory. It doesn't have to work hard to find it. It's like keeping a document open on your computer desktop.
But it's actually too easy for the brain.
It's way too easy. But if you force yourself to wait 3 full days, the memory has actively started to fade. It's getting a little fuzzy around the edges, so when you try to recall it on day 3, your brain has to legitimately struggle a bit. It has to go down into the dark archives to find it.
And that feeling of struggle is actually a good thing.
That struggle is everything. That moment where you're thinking, wait, what was that word again? It starts with an O. It means a chance to do something. That exact mental effort sends a massive chemical signal to your brain that says, hey, we keep needing this specific information. Do not delete this. We need to strengthen this neural pathway.
Wow. So by purposefully waiting until I'm almost at the point of forgetting it, I'm actually tricking my brain into keeping it forever?
Exactly. The guide explicitly says this method helps secure long-term memory. It completely flips the script. It turns the natural decay of information, which usually frustrates us, into a literal strengthening exercise.
So practically speaking, if I have my physical notebook, I just need to make sure I date the top of my pages.
Right. It takes a tiny bit of organization. So if today is the 10th of the month, you look at your new page for today, that's day 1. Then you flip back 3 days to the page from the 7th, and you review those 5 words. Then you flip back 7 days to the page from the 3rd and review those.
Honestly, it sounds a little complicated at first, but actually, it completely takes the emotional pressure off. I don't have to worry about whether or not I'm forgetting things. I just have to blindly trust the schedule.
It creates a closed system. You stop relying on fleeting motivation, and you just start relying on a simple, disciplined routine. And because you're only adding 5 new words a day, the review trail never actually gets overwhelming. Doing the 137 look back takes maybe 5 or 10 minutes total.
So let's zoom out for a second and look at the whole package here. Because at the very end of the source material, there's this fascinating little teaser. It casually mentions a fastest daily 20-minute vocabulary routine that successful learners use.
Yeah, it leaves you hanging a bit.
It does. It doesn't spell it out step by step in one place, but based on all these rules we just broke down, I feel like we can definitely reverse engineer what that 20 minutes actually looks like in practice.
Oh, I think we easily can. And I think it's an incredibly powerful alternative to the typical hour of miserable suffering most people try to do.
Okay, let's do this. Walk me
Okay.
through it. I've got my morning coffee. I've got exactly 20 minutes before I have to leave for work. Go.
Okay, minute 0 to 5, review. You open your dated notebook, you do your 137 review schedule, you look at the 5 words from 3 days ago and the 5 words from 7 days ago, you cover the meanings with your hand, you read the sentences aloud.
Checking if I still got them.
Right. If you remember them immediately, great. If not, you refresh your memory. That whole process is your brains warm up,
Boom. Done. We are 5 minutes in.
minute 5 to 15. Input. You'll pull up a YouTube video or a podcast clip with the subtitles turned on. It can be a TED Talk, a cooking vlog, a movie trailer, whatever you enjoy. But you aren't just passively watching. You're hunting.
What am I hunting for?
You're looking for today's 5 new words. Maybe it's a word you hear the speaker say that you didn't quite catch, or an idiom in the subtitles you don't recognize. You pause, you collect your 5 words.
So I'm actively mining the video for my 5 daily gold nuggets.
Exactly. Which brings us to minute 15 to 20, output. You take those 5 new nuggets, you write them in today's page in your notebook, you create your own personal egocentric sentences using them. You say those sentences out loud 3 times to build the muscle memory. See it, hear it, say it, and then you're done. You close the notebook.
That's literally it, just 20 minutes.
That's it. Close the book and go to work. Let the spacing effect do the heavy lifting while you go about your day.
It sounds almost way too easy to actually work.
Mm-hmm.
But if I actually do that every single day,
Let's look at the math again. In 1 year, by doing just that 20-minute routine, you have engaged with the English language for over 120 hours. You have learned roughly 1,800 high-frequency words in rich emotional context. You have reviewed them enough times at the exact right intervals to lock them into your long-term memory forever. You are fluent.
versus the guy who studies for 4 grueling hours on a Saturday, completely burns himself out, and doesn't look at his app again until the next Saturday.
That guy learns absolutely nothing. He is constantly restarting his progress from 0 every weekend. He's just spinning his tires in the mud.
It really profoundly reframes the whole language learning process for me. I used to really think learning a language was essentially an IQ test. Like, some people are just naturally gifted at languages, and I'm just not one of them.
Which is a huge myth.
Yeah, but this source is arguing that it's not an IQ test at all. It's basically just a logistics test.
It's a strategy game. The whole tortoise and the hare cliché is a cliché for a very good reason. But in this specific case, the tortoise isn't just winning because he's slow and steady. The tortoise is winning because he actually has a much better map of the territory.
And a really well-organized physical notebook.
And a notebook. That part is crucial.
So to the listener right now, if you were sitting there feeling completely overwhelmed by that giant stack of flashcards on your desk, or that unread textbook making you feel guilty, just stop, take a breath, lower the bar.
Just 5 words.
5 words. Put them in a sentence about your own actual life. Say them out loud until your roommates or your family look at you weird. Put on a fun YouTube video with the subtitles on, and blindly trust the 137 schedule to do the rest.
Don't try to conquer the entire English language today. Just try to win your next 20 minutes.
I think that's the ultimate takeaway here. Stop working so hard and start working smart. Let your biology do the work for you. Thank you for helping us completely unpack this guide today. I'm not going to lie, it's actually made me want to go dig through my attic and find my old dusty Spanish notebook.
Hey, 20 minutes a day, you could be fluent by next year.
That is the goal. But here is a final thought I want to leave you, the listener, with today. If we can theoretically achieve fluency in a complex new language with just a highly focused 20-minute daily routine, what does that say about how we might be completely wasting our time studying for hours on end in other areas of our lives just because we don't have a plan? Food for thought. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll catch you in the next one.